Hi, everyone. I'm Kip Boyle. Thanks for buying my book, Fire Doesn't Innovate. In part 2 of the book, you'll find a step-by-step method for making a cyber risk management game plan. So to help you create your own game plan, we built this online Cyber Risk Workbook. You can use it for yourself and your employer at no charge. For this tutorial, I'll assume that you're familiar with the 3-phase approach and that you know each phase has one or more steps. As you may be able to tell by looking at my screen, the workbook is implemented in Google Sheets. Now, when you access the workbook for the first time, you're going to need to make a copy for yourself. That's because this one's read-only, and we wanted to make sure that everybody could get a fresh copy. At this point, you have two options. You can choose File, Make a Copy, which requires you to have Google Drive. Now, if you don't have Google Drive, it's very easy to get in most places. Perhaps you can't get it, or if you don't want to get it, your other option is to do a download as. And when you do that, you're going to get a number of different file formats to choose from. Now, once you have your copy, what you want to do is start at the leftmost tab on the bottom of the page. Then you work your way across the bottom, going from tab to tab as you complete each step. And as you can see, each tab shows the step number and the purpose of the step. So for example, here in step 1-1, you're going to do a quick asset inventory. Now you can use any of the examples that we've listed. You can change the names, you can add your own, whatever's going to work best for you. Now notice at the top of each tab, we've put the page number from the book so that you can quickly get more details on what you need to do for each step. Now, we've also tried to save you some time by copying information from earlier tabs when you've entered it into later tabs so that it's available to you again without having to repeat your effort. So for example, if we take a look at tab 1-3, here you can see in this table, you've made a list of people to interview. Now, when you complete that table, that data is automatically going to be brought over to this table in tab 1-6. Now, as long as we're here in tab 1-6, let me show you how web links work here in the book, in the workbook. On the left side of each tab is a link to buy the book and a link to request help from us. Now, the way you use these links that are attached to the graphic is, first, you're typically going to have to click once on the graphic, and then as you can see here, the domain will come up, the link will come up, and you'll be able to actually click on it, and that'll bring up the web page. Let's close that out. Now, that's also going to be useful here on tab 1-6 because we've got a version of the score key available to you, and if I just click that once and then click on the link that pops up, it's going to bring up the full version of the score key, a high-resolution version that you can print with or use it however you'd like to as you move step by step through your plan. Now you'll notice that the tabs currently only go up to 1-7, and if you want to see more tabs, they're actually hidden on the right. So if you use the scroll right button, you can see more tabs. If you use the scroll left button, then you can unhide tabs that are hidden over on the left. So let's go back to tab 1-4 and take a look at this one because there's a manual step that you're going to have to make here. You're going to have to make a copy of tab 1-4 for each person that you're going to interview. And here's how you do it. So first, you right-click on the tab, and a menu will come up. And here you're going to select Duplicate. So I'll do that now. And after a moment, you can see we've got a copy of 1-4 Generate Questionnaire available. So you're going to right-click on that tab, you're going to choose Rename, and you're going to put in the name of the interviewee. Now, we didn't know how many interviews you were going to need to do, so we couldn't preload this for you. But you're going to want a tab for each person that you're going to be interviewing, and those are the people that you, remember, put into the table on tab 1-3. Now there's another tab where there's some work that's going to be required from you, and that's this tab 1-7 here. Again, we didn't know how many interviews you do, so you're going to have to calculate the average responses from all your interviewees and then place those average numbers into column F, starting in cell number 19, which is right here. Now, in order to do that, you've got a couple of options. We've outlined the options for you here in the text at the top of the tab. And you can do that yourself. Maybe delegate this to somebody else to do for you. But once you've finished tab 1-7, then you'll switch over here to tab 1-8. And this table will allow you to sort and put the highest risks at the top row, and the risks are going to be sorted by the size of the gap between the average scores that you've collected compared to your targets that you selected. Now, all you have to do is just follow the instructions here and right here next to cell G6 in order to be able to do the sort. And after you've done the sort, you can go over here and you can take a look at the radar diagram. Now, this diagram, you should recognize it, it's in the book, is based off the table that's in tab 1-7. Let's take a look at that real quick. So it's based off this table here. Now, the rest of the workbook, which covers phases 2 and 3, are very similar to what we've already seen in terms of tab construction. So I'm not going to cover those tabs in detail. There would be a lot of repetition. So we're not going to do that. But that wraps up this basic tutorial on the Cyber Risk Workbook. Thanks again for buying Fire Doesn't Innovate, and we hope you get a lot of value out of the workbook.